The value of Jason is Halloween sold really well. Hey, this mic sounds a whole lot better when I don't have it backwards.
Yeah, sure, that was the problem. What's up, everybody? You are listening to Deviance. Welcome. I am your host, as always, John, and my co-host, What's up, y'all? You are listening to Deviance. Welcome. My name is John, and as always with me, my co-host, Cell. Say hi to the people, Cell.
Hi, the people.
There we go. Today...
Oh, shit. Wait. No.
You said hi to the people.
Yeah, I didn't say hi to the people.
You usually say hi to the people.
I say hi to the people, yes.
Yeah.
And you get mad because I don't say hi to the people.
Right.
Right.
What's up, everybody? You are listening to the Deviance Welcome podcast. Deviance Welcome podcast? Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, everyone? You are listening to the Deviance Welcome podcast. I am your host, John, and with me, as always, my co-host, Cell. Say hi to the people, Cell.
Hi, the people.
Hi to the people. Today we have a topic for you that usually is near and dear to my heart, but to be honest, this one just, it really pisses me off, grinds my gears, if you will, for those Family Guy friendly people.
Oh, God.
And we'll edit it in post. You'll edit it in post.
Oh, God.
So.
Oh, God.
Are you finished?
Yes.
I work with a child. Today, I would like to talk to you all about the best time of year, in my opinion. I live in Michigan. We live in Michigan. And up here, we get all 4 seasons. It's the best. To me, it's the best thing about Michigan. I love having 4 seasons. Anyway, fall is my favorite one. The leaves are changing. The weather is perfect. And of course, you get my favorite season, or my favorite holiday, Halloween. It's the best holiday ever. It's not overly consumed with money. You get candy and you get horror movies all the time on regular TV, on your streamings, on all the things. It's amazing. Let me put a precursor out there. I like my network TVs. I don't just use the streaming services. I have the Netflix and Hulu and all of the other ones you can probably think of. But I enjoy YouTube TV. The live TV aspect is great for me. Plus, I need my sports. So I have those, and I often have them on in the background. And for me, when I don't want to spend the ton of time, if I'm looking through a streaming network, if I'm going through Netflix, I'm going to get lost down the rabbit hole of just looking at everything they have. And I'm going to spend an hour looking at stuff, and that's going to wrap up the TV time that I had set aside to watch something. So a lot of times I'll just leave stuff on in the background.
Sure.
And when that happens, you are somewhat subject to what the network is going to show you. And every Halloween, instead of getting something decent, with my Halloween, of course, I get my Halloween. But one thing just pisses me off to no end. This year, I'm going through my Halloween programming, and Halloween is my favorite storyline, or my favorite slasher series, I guess you'd say. So I always polish that off first. But as I'm nearing my Halloween, and I'm like, all right, well, I just finished this. I need something else to watch. The thing I see on the channels not showing Halloween, nothing but fucking Jason movies. And I can't help but think to myself, why the hell is it Jason? Have you ever seen a Jason movie? Have you ever watched a Jason movie, like all the way through, not just skimmed through it while you were doing whatever you wanted to do? Like, have you actually watched one, Cell?
Yeah, of course I have watched a Jason movie.
And were you entertained?
No, they all universally suck.
All universally suck. Just, I don't understand. There's so many options that you could lay out. There's so many things you could put out that's so much better. I mean,
Well, okay, first we got to start with the fact that Jason just exists because Halloween sold well.
very true. See, and if you look at it, like if you actually watch these movies, you'll see similarities in like direct correlation of storylines sometimes. Like you will see the exact same kill, the setup, everything as you'd see in a Halloween movie. It's almost a direct ripoff at a campsite or at a campground. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I've never actually seen Halloween.
Oh my goodness.
Any of them. Any of them.
3 is the only one you don't need to bother with. Michael Myers isn't even in the movie. I digress. That is a different topic. And oh man.
I mean, to be fair, Jason isn't in the first Friday the 13th either.
Yeah. Actually, I believe it is 2 out of the first 5 are not Jason.
Right.
Because you have his mother. You have his mother in the first one and a copycat in, I think,
in 5.
5?
I think it is 5. I'm pretty sure.
You might be right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. It's 5.
You have one which is like the mother standalone sort of thing, right? And then all of a sudden,
which
this
I think
kid
was the best storyline they had a chance of doing.
Well, aside from the fact that it was like an inversion of Psycho.
Yeah. You know what? I hadn't considered that. That's true. Well, I mean, everything has been redone, right?
I mean, to an extent, but like this one was like, we're gonna make a slasher flick. What the hell do we do? Well, there's Psycho and Halloween that have both done well.
Yep,
so let's just smash those together into one thing, together. And that is Friday the 13th.
That is lazy filmmaking. Smash them all together, throw them in some cabins, and that's gonna be our niche. We'll find a cool lake. My whole standpoint for this podcast, this whole thing of things here, is not to say that Jason does not have a place in the world, right? Because Jason has a place in the world. He does. He's got a place in the horror world. He's one of the top 3 grossing slashers of all time. But it's just that I don't need it during my Halloween programming because that time is sacred.
I mean, your Halloween okay, hang on. Skipping the Halloween programming. Top 3 slashers of all time is because there's only 3 slashers that anybody gives a fuck about. They're Jason, they're Freddy, they're Michael Myers. That's it. Nobody gives a fuck about any of the other ones.
Really? What about Pinhead?
Pinhead isn't really Pinhead is closer to authentic horror.
Why?
Like not slasher.
Why? Because of the supernatural element?
Because of the overall creepiness of that
right
fucking series.
Why? Okay. What about Leprechaun?
I never saw Leprechaun.
But slasher.
Okay. I will defer to you on that one.
What about Leatherface?
Leatherface I could give you as a slasher.
Yeah. And definitely one that people cared about.
Sure.
I keep going if you want.
No, hang on. The thing with Leatherface is that like that was all kind of like based off of like a slasher spin-off of Ed Gein.
Yeah, right? I get you.
So he wasn't really so much a slasher character as much as a like serial killer adapted to a slasher movie.
It doesn't matter. In terms of movie genre, it is considered a slasher.
Sure. Right. But
So my point stands that yes, there are other slashers in the world that people care about.
Sure, but okay, you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and that's it, right?
No. There are I think there is a third, maybe a fourth.
Really?
And there have been quite a few reboots, actually.
I mean, I consider
Do you not count reboots?
House of a Thousand Corpses is basically
no,
fucking
absolutely
Texas
not.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Absolutely not.
I know it's not, but
and how fucking dare you? First off on my list, right? Because I'm not the type of guy that's just gonna come at you with an opinion and not tell you why I think that way. So let's start first with it's not worth watching on TV. Right? Like I get why people watch Jason. There are times where I am amused by Jason because let's face it, Jason is not a horror movie. Jason is like comedic slasher. It's not even just slasher. It's straight up comedic. Like, but it is not worth watching on TV. Why? Because with Jason, you get two things. You get death and gore. I guess you could say three things if you want to split them, but I don't. Death and gore and tits.
Titties.
That's it, right? You get death. You get tits.
Titties.
That is what you watch a Jason movie for. If you are watching these movies on any sort of streaming cable service, YouTube TV or Amazon Prime, I think. Anyway, any of the TV streaming services, the Hulu TV or whatever.
Sure.
If you're watching these on these, you're getting the network stuff. And unless you're watching it on IFC, which I love IFC, it's the shit that they actually have unedited movies for me to watch. It's fantastic. But unless you're watching it on IFC, you are watching a censored Jason movie. And I'm led to ask, what the flying fuck is the point of watching a Jason movie that is censored? You get minimal gore and you get zero tits. What is the point? Because you're not getting story. You're not getting anything else.
I mean,
right? You're getting eye candy and blood.
Sure. Okay.
You get neither.
Okay. But to be fair, the reason that I've seen most of the Freddy movies is because there's more going on with those movies than just gore and tits.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
we're getting to that.
when you put that on TV, you have actually something there other than just people running around screaming in the woods.
Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Jason does not belong on network TV. I think it was on like the Paramount Network or something like that. It doesn't belong on network TV because you have to cut it to hell in order to show it at all. There's nothing else. And at that point, you've cut the things that make Jason worth watching at all. You only watch Jason when you are looking for a movie full of death and full of tits and sex and drugs, right? But you're not giving a shit whether or not you like the story because, well, let's face it, you're not going to like the story. I mean, none of them. Like, well, okay, maybe one or two had a decent story. Like one was a decent story, and as far as I know, as far as I have gleaned from the people I've talked to, and from the things that I've read, 6 actually is thought of to be one of the better ones.
That's Jason Lives, right?
Yes, the one where with the sheriff's daughter,
right?
That happens to be the pretty red car she's driving around. Which, ironically, I don't believe there's very little nudity in that one at all.
I didn't see that one.
And the story is that it's the third one with the Tommy kid.
Okay.
That is not a kid.
Right.
Right. You get kid Tommy, and then you get the one afterwards that is adult Tommy.
Right.
That's crazy and doesn't really talk much.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
That one is 4, isn't it?
I believe that one is New Beginning.
Oh, New Beginning. Okay,
yes,
so that would be.
I believe that is. No, I think that's 5. I don't remember. I could be wrong. Maybe New Beginning is No, it's the one with the imposter is the one I'm talking about.
I don't know.
The one with the imposter EMT.
I mostly stopped watching Jason when like there was the first one that was your Halloween and Psycho mashup.
Yeah.
And then and I was too young to really realize that that's what that was at the time, but then there was
everything
the second
came
one
from somewhere. I'm not hating too much.
Then there was the second one where somehow this kid that had fucking died and drowned in the middle of a lake was a full-grown adult who showed up out of nowhere. Like, the implication seems to be that he was never actually dead to begin with.
With a bag, no less, over his head. He was practically wearing he was practically wearing a burlap sack with a single hole.
Right.
Cut into, so he only needs one eye.
Right.
What the fuck is going on here? You're giving me a story, and like I love that they're trademark, right? Everybody, you think of Jason, what do you think of?
The hockey mask.
You don't even see it until the third one, and it's almost like they stumbled into it.
Right.
They're one thing that made the character like iconic. Iconic. Yeah, that's a great word. Yeah, the one thing that made the character iconic isn't even there until 3.
I mean,
and back to my point, we're talking about 6 here. Like, It took them 6 tries to come up with something that is revered as a decent story. 6 tries? Why the fuck are you making the movies at all?
I mean, to be fair, like 2 through 4 were basically the same story. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
They just like swapped out actors and fucking like had them fill different roles and shit like that. But otherwise you had fucking like one extended killing spree from Jason where like every now and again somebody's able to stab him with a knife or throw an axe into him or something like that. And then like he doesn't even die. He's just a regular ass human who is fucking like going on this killing spree, takes a couple licks and, you know, might have to slow down a little bit and heal up and recover, but otherwise he just keeps going. And then they finally kill him, and then all of a sudden now there's magic and resurrection and shit like that happening.
See, like, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that, because like two was obviously separate from 1, right? Because in 1, Jason's dead. Right. In 2, he's not.
Surprise!
Cool. Right. Here we're gonna give you this seemingly like deformed human being that's wearing a mask over his a burlap sack over his head, and he's running around all human but killing people. And then it seemed like in 3, I think in 3 is when we started to get more of that supernatural element, and he kind of gained that like level of immortality. We started to go the way of the supernatural instead of just being a human being.
Okay, fair. The thing that really gets my goat on all this is like you have this, for some strange reason, continuity of motivation between Jason's mom and Jason himself, who apparently never knew her, right? Because like she thought he was dead.
Right.
And she was running around and killing camp counselors because they were fucking and doing drugs instead of watching her kid who drowned in the lake, but who, surprise, didn't die. But then like they kill her, and then Jason shows up, and then Jason is also killing camp counselors because they're fucking and doing drugs.
Right.
For no other reason than they're fucking and doing drugs. And also, I guess, kind of because they killed his mom.
Well, I also read that the classic the theme music, I guess, if you could call it theme music, right? Is so I read a rumor that it was supposed to be, and I didn't research this, so horror movie Jason buffs, don't kill me, but I heard that was actually supposed to say, it was supposed to mimic Jason's voice saying, kill, mom, kill mom.
Sure.
So that kind of, it makes you wonder, did she think Jason was dead, or was Jason a ghost to her? Like, they didn't pick a good storyline.
Sure.
They didn't pick one. And yes, a lot of the other horror movies had different storylines.
That's really shitty sound gating.
But yeah, well,
shitty noise gate and delay use in getting
back to my original point. It's not worth watching on TV. It's basically every single one of them is basically a B movie, except maybe the first one. Every single one of them, to me, in terms of story, is considered a B movie. And why does that have any place on network TV during Halloween? If maybe you showed me the highlights, right? Just give me 1 half-hour episode
of all the gory death kills.
All the gory death kills and all the, you know, all the uncensored, all the censored stuff you can show me.
Sure.
Right?
With all the PSA at late night and shit, like.
Yes. Exactly. Some
intended for mature audiences.
Right, exactly. We don't censor our content, whatever. Give me a highlight reel, half an hour, and just let me move on to my other my other stuff. Put something better on.
Jason as Faces of Death.
Like I just yeah, there you go. Exactly. Because that's all anybody's watching it for anyway. The kills are cool, the tits are great, but other than that, who pays attention to the story? Seriously. The story in Jason Goes to Hell.
I mean,
right? Dude just is possessed by a heart.
Sure. I mean,
a heart.
Oh, sure.
This is what we're doing. This was considered a major motion picture. They paid people to act in that movie.
Hey, look, they had more of a plot with that one than they do with some other ones, to be fair. Okay, I'm going to push back on you on this one a little bit. For some reason, out of nowhere, you have this guy who's this like fucking commando or some shit that knows out of nowhere that the only way to kill Jason is somebody, one of his family members has to do it. And oh shit, Jason's got a sister.
Right.
Right.
And oh, by the way, he happens to have this special dagger that he needs to do it too, because it's the only thing. The only thing with this fucking shape-shifting dagger. But also, because of this shit that it just kind of crammed in there that's like not really much of anything, it's actually got more of a plot than like any of the previous ones. I can't say any of the previous ones. Yeah, not any.
But like the original like upfront like first, 3 to 4, more plot than any of those.
Yeah, but okay, having a plot is not enough. It needs to be a good plot. That was a
Of course it was a terrible plot.
You know why they did it?
I was just pushing back on the idea that they had no story. They had some story there.
I'm entirely convinced the only reason that Jason Goes to Hell even happened was because of the last 30 seconds of the movie. Do you remember what happens in the last 30 seconds of the movie?
I tried to refresh myself like 20 times this week in order to prepare for the podcast and fell asleep every fucking time.
Dude, at the end of the movie, right? Jason gets dragged to hell. You've seen this.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. After he gets dragged to hell, they do the everything is good, and they show the two people, the couple that managed to survive. And they're out in the country or whatever, and they're living their best life, not at all traumatized. Like, post-traumatic stress syndrome is not a thing for them. And hey, whatever. Not realistic. But anyway. And then after that, you go back to the place where Jason was dragged to hell. And it's a bunch of ash and stuff on the mask that is kind of deteriorated, right? And then who else, or what else, but a clawed glove comes up out of the ground and pulls the mask underground.
The Freddy glove?
Yes. That's what it was. The whole reason, I'm convinced the only reason that movie ever came out
was to set up for Freddy versus Jason.
Exactly. Which took, 20 years to do, I think?
And also Jason X in front of that.
God. Fucking Jason X.
Look,
Uber Jason. Jesus Christ with Uber Jason. Are you fucking kidding me?
Look, the thing that I appreciate the most about Jason X is because it is one of the ones that does like solidify that whole Jason is chasing after people who are fucking and doing drugs thing, because he's dead on the table, right? A fucking slab of meat that's like, we of course know he's going to come back, because otherwise you don't even have as little of a Jason movie as you normally have.
Right. Otherwise, what am I doing here?
Right. But
let's be fair. Nobody showed up to watch that movie. but the box office had spoken.
They're sitting there like trying to heal this woman that he had stabbed and froze with him, right? And he's at this dead chunk of meat on the table. Everybody's like busy with trying to heal this woman, and then like except for the two people who are off in the corner fucking.
Yep.
And those people are coming, like those people are off in the corner fucking, and as soon as they're starting to hit the Jason just sits straight bolt upright like there's people having sex.
Yep. Maybe he was like a Catholic or something, like born Catholic or something like that, and just has a thing with premarital sex.
He just like somehow absorbed his mother's fucking like motivation for no damn reason that we can discern.
No. I love how in the end of that one you get the whole distraction with the two girls that just kind of get formed, the holograms, whatever, that they throw up to distract him while they get away. We love doing drugs and having premarital sex. Like, all right, just come out and say it. God.
I mean, there was definitely a point where they like went from we're kind of taking this seriously to no, we have now kind of like created the horror or the slasher movie rules.
I believe that point was probably Jason Goes to Hell. Or you know what? No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. I believe that point was Jason Takes Manhattan. Yes. That's what that was. That point was Jason Takes Manhattan. They're like, you know what? We're done trying to pretend like we're making good horror movies. We're just gonna. I believe in that one. I actually heard like cartoon sound effects. I think that's the one I'm thinking of, but I'm pretty sure I heard like cartoon sound effects when he rips this girl out the fucking window. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, don't get me wrong. Freddy, from the start, is real angry and mysterious and all that stuff. And he does get funnier and funnier and funnier throughout the movies. But they have stories. They're not he's sarcastic funny. Right. But Jason is just like not
well, and Freddy was kind of leaning into the camp from the start, right? They weren't trying to be like.
You talking about Freddy?
Yeah. The first Freddy movie was kind of campy.
I disagree. Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
This is not the discussion. We will go this discussion another time, but wholeheartedly disagree.
I must be thinking of the second one then?
Yeah, the second one was awful. Yeah. You must excuse the second one. The second one for Nightmare on Elm Street is like the third one for the Halloween series. We'll go over that at another time. There are ones in every single every single slasher series that you can just skip over, and all of them are the ones you can skip over if you're watching Friday the 13th. I'm kidding. I kid. We'll get to that. But yeah, like with Jason, it's not worth watching. You get marathons on TV. At one point I saw that they were, and it wasn't even Friday the 13th. They had done it on a Friday the 13th because we got one this October, but they did another one too, where it was just wall to wall Friday the 13th movies. And I'm like, why are you doing this to the people? What did they do to you? Like, I don't understand. Like, 2 out of the first 5 aren't even Jason at all. You get Mom in the first one, and I think it was the 4th one or the 5th. I believe it was the 5th one that you get the EMT. Jason wasn't even there. It was great. Like, the whole time I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, that's the wrong hockey mask. It doesn't have the chip in it anymore. And then you find out at the end why it doesn't have the chip in it from the axe.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you watch the one before?
With
the kid?
It's
with little
hazy
Corey Haim,
memories
not
for
little
me.
Corey Haim, little Corey Feldman. With little Corey Feldman.
Hazy memories.
Okay.
Walk me through it.
Little Corey Feldman's sister, I believe, put an axe through Jason's head. Like, straight through his head. And that's why he's got the little gash in the mask in the top corner. Right. But in the 5th one, when they're doing the imposter thing, there's no chip in the mask. And the triangles under the eyes, they're blue instead of red. Okay. Instead of the red one up here. Right. That you get in the brow.
So wrong mask.
Yeah.
And that was the imitation guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm like, why is the mask wrong? And I'm like, oh, that's why the mask is wrong.
It's not Jason.
Not Jason. So why am I here? I reiterate. And why does he seem to have all of the powers of Jason? The super strength, the ability to get thrown around and get right back up, no problem.
PCP.
I mean, like, okay, but there's no reference to that, so I don't know what happened. Is this like a make your own movie? Is that what Jason is? I have to like go to the movies and I have to not only pay to watch your movie, but I have to reason it myself to make it good.
Well, okay,
like,
hang on.
I'm sorry, that's too much to ask of me for fucking $10 and $10.
Now, to be fair, like every single movie ever kind of comes out within the context of what's going on culturally at the time. Right. So if we are like in the depths of the PCP era of what is that, the 80s?
No, we're 90s? Talking about cocaine, dude.
There was a time when like PCP was the like public enemy number 1.
Sure, but in Friday the 13th, if they're doing a drug that's not weed, it's coke.
Okay, sure. But this isn't, we're also not talking about what the kids are doing. We're talking about what the psycho murderer who isn't Jason is doing.
And I know they made it because people bought it. And I don't understand that either. Because it's like when you have a guy that starts as a human and then
he starts as a mom.
I'm sorry, he starts as a mom. Right. A mom that you never see until the end.
Right.
And then he becomes
inverse psycho.
A really big dude that somehow managed to get huge on his own with no help.
Right.
from adolescence. And then he becomes more of like a superhuman thing. And then he's the, he gets the immortal supernatural bit. Then he becomes a heart that's like capable of possessing people after being eaten, whatever the fuck that is. And, then you get to Uber Jason.
Wait.
So like, I mean, excluding Uber Jason, I'm sitting here thinking like, when people are super fans, like, which Jason are you a fan of? Do you really like all these iterations when you're tattooing Jason? I know this girl who has a giant Jason mask on her thigh. Beautiful tattoo. But I gotta wonder, I'm like, which Jason? What? Why? Why would you waste all that canvas on your leg on this guy? Why do people like it that much?
Hang on. With that one, I could actually give you a really simple answer for that one. They could be going for like a whole horror movie or slasher movie. Like, they could be going for a slasher collage on their leg. And Jason is the easiest one to do without having to like pay out the nose.
No, because you got no depth, no shading.
Right, exactly. Right. You can get some 2-bit fucking cheap fucking tattoo artist to bang out a Jason mask halfway well, as opposed to like getting a good Freddy tattoo.
Right.
Is going to cost thousands.
Oh my god, thousands.
You can get a good Jason tattoo for a couple $100.
Yeah, right. Or a bad Jason tattoo that still kind of looks okay.
Right.
For like probably 50.
Right. You could get the guy who does your Freddy to touch up your Jason, and it'll be okay.
Exactly. Here's the deal. There are 8 Freddy movies, I believe, if you're not counting Freddy versus Jason or the reboot. And there's one dud. Like true dud.
Right.
I mean, yes, 3 was great, 4 was okay, 5 was eh. And personally 6 to me was the funny one. But you get like one dud out of 8 to 9 movies, 8 to 10 movies. Whereas out of 12 Jason movies, the one good one was Freddy versus Jason.
To be fair, that one was also campy.
Freddy versus Jason was fucking amazing. Maybe you watch your mouth.
No. Okay, hang on. I said campy, but what I really meant was hilarious. But I also had to consider the fact that when I watched that, I was on 2CI.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that being interesting.
Oh, it was fucking hilarious, bro. I was laughing my ass off through the whole movie.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I laugh my ass off every time I watch that movie. It's great. It's great. But yeah, the best Jason movie was Freddy versus Jason. So like, I don't see the point. You could throw me some Nightmare on Elm Street. You could throw me some other stuff. Throw me some Candyman in there. Throw me some maybe not Hellraiser. I think that might kind of fall into the same category. Not the bad story category, but the not worth watching on TV story.
Yeah, sort of.
I think I should be watching Freddy a whole lot more. Because you can watch Freddy relatively censored.
Sure.
And
yeah,
it still definitely has a creep factor.
Right.
Because it has a storyline that works.
Well, that's why I've seen way more of the Freddy than I've seen of the Jason movies, and when I say seen more, I mean that I've seen the Freddy movies that I've seen multiple times, whereas the Jason movies I've seen them maybe once, if at all that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because they didn't, when we were kids, or at least when I was a kid, and they were putting that stuff on TV, they didn't put Jason on TV. There was no Jason on TV, except for maybe occasionally the first one. But even that was rare.
And you get it on Friday the 13th.
And you would get it on Friday the 13th, not on Halloween.
Right.
Right. All of your other, slasher, horror, or whatever stuff was popping up on Halloween. And you would get a lot of Freddy.
And with that, I feel like I have nailed my point to the ground. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people, Cell?
By the people.
By the people.
For the people.
Of the people?
Of the people.
I guess. All right, people. We're done for the day. This has been Deviance Welcome. Make sure you check us out at volatilepatience.com. You can reach us there at any time. Check out all the cool stuff we have available for you. And we will catch you next week. Peace.